Well, Lady Ludlow and Mrs. Gibson are very, very different, and their difference comes in as much as one is was a rather silly, manipulative woman, Mrs. Gibson, and desperate to marry off her daughter at any cost, and was a social climber, whereas Lady Ludlow is an aristocrat. And she doesn't have daughters. She's a rather tragic figure, really. She's had 7 children, and only one is now surviving and has to live abroad for his health. So you get the feeling that there's this only surviving child is a rather sickly one. And also, she is basically, Lady Ludlow represents paternal conservatism of the past. She has this huge estate with 64 indoor servants alone, and she's determined not to sack one of them, even though she's getting hard up because she feels she is responsible for their livelihood, and that the only alternative could be the workhouse. And she's a very kind person, and wants to house anyone. In fact, she has one person who alone who winds her clocks. And she says, but Will Jones is mute, and if he wasn't winding the clocks, I have a great many clocks, but if he didn't have this position, he'd be in the workhouse. And she wants to protect him. So she's a very, very kind person, and an old-fashioned, past paternal conservatism. It's a very well-written script, because you feel this woman when you watch it. I hope, I certainly felt it when I read it. You feel her without being fed masses of information. And that's a real tribute to the writing, of the depth of somehow you feel you know this person, and yet you're not sitting there being dictated to with a load of facts. You know very little about the facts of Lady Ludlow's life. Do I have a favourite role? No, I think I'm afraid I live pretty much and work very much in the present. What I'm doing is hopefully consuming, and also hopefully, like today was my last day of filming, you feel you've done it. So it's very rounded. I think that's one of the privileges of my profession, is that every job you take on, or I take on as an actress, has a beginning, a middle, and a natural end. And that makes you feel good. And favourite? No. I've liked practically all those parts enormously when I've been in them, and maybe quite happy when they've come to an end.